Go live. Boom. We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of an impromptu video this evening. Ethereum was breaking out. It's currently just broke into phase D. And even though it's a little late at night, I figured, why not? Let's jump on live. You only get to do life once, and here we are, alive with you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking a look at Ethereum on the broader spectrum that we are watching, and we're going to zoom into the minutia and I guess highlight one of the fun aspects that our Bear family member Jerry had shared earlier. So over the last few days, we have been watching the spring categorized by this nice wick down and this massive amount of supply that came in to create that. Again, this is the fun part. On the 45-minute, if you follow us on, first off, if you follow us on Twitter, let's see here, we'll open the Twitter up in the background too. We were watching this nice horizontal trading range, and Bear Den Jerry, I want to give a big shout out to you. So this was Bear Den Jerry's chart. This is a very nice use of the area chart. As you can see, you had your primary support, your buying climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test, your spring here. You can see on the volume, we'll look at it a little bit closer, and then a break across the creek. Now, as Jerry posted that, we mentioned on the 15-minute, which we will go over, the rise in volume. And then on Twitter, we tagged Lark, one of the greatest men in crypto, this particular interesting point. Now, this was the 15-minute. This was back when we were at $1,268, and it was the declining volume and rising price. And I said, hey guys, look, nice. Ethereum is pushing up on the 15-minute on falling volume. You know what that means? Do you know what that means? Well, this is why we always want to study. It wasn't just a jump across the creek, but this rising price on falling volume is a clear indicator that we saw the first break across around 7 to 8% after that moment. And we are now in the secondary part of phase D, or basically the beginning of phase D, and we're done with phase C. So we're well on our way to, I would believe, around $2,600 for Ethereum. Now, again, let's go to the 15-minute. This is a really key moment. So if we kind of retrospectively look back at where we were, this rising price here and the falling volume was the indicator that we were about to break out. And not only that, as Jerry had pointed out, it was this very beautiful horizontal trading range that he pointed out here, and this break across the creek. Now, I drew it like this. And I wanted to highlight again that falling volume and supply was so key for this particular moment. I was glad we got that tweet out like right as it was happening, because I knew we didn't have more than maybe 5 or 10 minutes effectively before it was about to break out. And this is one of the powerful things about this type of technical analysis. Now, most people don't think technical analysis works, but it's mostly because most technical analysis suck. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just you have to be very good at what you do. I'm not claiming that I am. I'm always learning, and I'm always trying to increase my informational awareness by studying frequently. And this is one of those important times where the study really paid off. So this is a horizontal reaccumulation range, and this is exactly what Jerry had pointed out. So let's quickly compare these two charts, Bear Den Jerry and the reaccumulation. So again, we saw our primary support, a buying climax, an automatic rally, or a secondary test, which we could consider a support. We did see a spring here too, so we can actually notify on the 15-minute that the spring was right here. You have, again, a long wick, high amount of supply come in, very limited price spread. That was effectively what we would call phase C on the bigger aspects of these horizontal trading ranges as well. So we entered it from phase C into phase D, and then we had phase E breakout here, and smaller trading ranges again. This is all effectively fractal in nature, much like the Fibonacci spiral. Things kind of spiral inside and outside of one another. So I thought that this was a really important moment to, even though it's late, jump on live and share the sentiments of understanding about, well, there is this beautiful break across the creek, the backup, and we're starting to see our first SOS. We're going to see a quick LPS, which is likely what we're in now, our first kind of tiny little backup phase, also highlighted by a little bit of a sell signal here, this white dot, but we'll get into that later. I do suspect we'll see a backup. If we're lucky, we'll come all the way back down to 1270. That would be amazing. But our first areas are here and here at 1324 and 1321. Now, because phase D is still not ultimately the big breakout moment we're looking for, yeah, and as we zoom out here on the 4 hour, you can see that there's actually a fair amount of resistance holding us up where we are. So the LPS may not go any lower than $1,300. If we get to like 1280 on this backup, that would be amazing. And again, what you're going to want to watch is a continual decrease in volume during the backup phase here, because this is effectively the start of the SOS because of this type of trading schematic. Now, for those of you that have been following us for quite some time, you would recognize that this is a schematic 3, which breaks out with a sign of strength before the spring, a very bullish pattern, might I add. So Ethereum is going to be extremely bullish over the next coming week here. I wouldn't try to particularly pick a day. Some of you were asking on Twitter, well, what's the time frame? There is no time frame. Really what we want to do is measure the architecture. As we had gone over in our previous 2 videos, you would recognize this. This spring, it was not about the amount of time so much as it was about this particular moment. These long wicks, massive amount of supply, and decreasing price spread each time along the way. So these are hugely important learning lessons, and you really only get them as they're happening. So there's no better time to be studying than right now, effectively. So now that we've moved into phase D, I suspect if we get up to 1337, have a little bit of a backup phase, see our first real sign of strength, and then we likely get a final reaccumulation. Hopefully it's tight. This one was already really tight. Like if you look really closely, this was a really beautiful trading range. I actually started to build a little bit of a leverage position here. Was around this 1240 or 1230 to 1250 area, because it had a minimum or a maximum price spread of around, even with the spring, 6%. So I was building at the bottom of the trading range around 1230, 1240. Again, here I will draw it so that you can see around the bottom area of this trading range. So my leverage position is in a great spot. I'll hopefully be able to ride that for quite some time. If it comes back down to 1280, I will lean into it very heavily, because I do not think we're going to break below this trading range again, which means I've got lots of room within the buffer that I added in my margin. So excited about that. And if we do come down this low, it just represents another great LPS position. And if we do look at this, the final LPS does give us a jet back. Again, remember, we're hunting an animal in the wild. It's not going to be exact, but it gets pretty close. So shout out to Bear Den Jerry. This is a fantastic chart. And again, another great reason to follow us on Twitter. That we were at $1,260 when we made this post. And again, I wanted to highlight this declining volume, rising price. Very important moment. It was a perfect learning lesson. And I really think that this is, the importance of this channel, guys, for me to you, is to share the experience of learning. And sometimes the best time is when it's happening. Yeah. Anyways, I'll take a little bit of time to look at your guys' thoughts and questions. It's really late, so I'm sure there's not going to be tons of you guys on the live stream. But just if you want, be sure to give us that thumbs up button. We're going to like $2,600 Ethereum on this next run up. And again, I have cycles upwards of around $6,000 to $10,000 pretty easily on our Fibonacci extension. So we'll keep a really close eye on this. And this may be the backup. This may be all the backup that we get is what we're witnessing right now. So we'll keep an eye on that. Like even here, our sell and our resist, we broke through that resistance almost instantaneously. And we might see that again. Again, look at look at the rise. Look at the rise on falling supply. Boom, rise on falling supply. This stuff is so important, guys. I can't stress this enough. Once you get the architecture of your horizontal trading range set up, you really want to find this effort versus result mantra that we've gone over a few times. Rising price, falling supply. I don't know how almost every YouTuber gets this wrong, but they're always like, oh my God, look at all the supply coming in. That's not what you want. You want decreasing supply, rising price. That's what you want. That is the sign of a bull market trend coming into place. Okay, so we'll take a thought of some of your guys' questions here. Right, nice. What indicator are you using? I'm not using any indicators. This is We are using some, but we won't go over that quite yet. They're unimportant to the technicals. So the technicals here are the architecture of the horizontal trading range. That's the most important part, and the volume characteristics. Again, another extremely important part. Again, you can see. Look at the amount of price versus effort, or the mantra of effort versus result on the 4-hour chart here. You have diminishing volume or supply, rising price, okay? You don't need an indicator. These are just simple volume and price spreads. Now, the horizontal architecture alongside of this price is important because we know we had the spring highlighted by these crazy wicks and the massive amount of supply that came in, again, equal to, as we went over the other day, our primary shakeout. So you don't need any indicators. Now, I was using something called the CryptoVac. We'll get into that a little later. It just, again, highlights trading ranges of resistance and support. As you can see, that basically creates the secondary layer of my horizontal trading ranges, which you could draw in. You don't need it to be automatically there. Like, you can literally just draw this stuff in, guys. So don't worry about like indicators. What you need to do is your homework. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Do your homework, ladies and gentlemen. It obviously pays off. And a shout out to Bear Dan Jerry for sharing such a fantastic horizontal trading range chart here. I love this. I love when you use the area chart too, guys. I've just switched over to using the Heiken Ashi charts because I like this kind of trend indicator. It's nice, and I think it probably gets us better views because more people are used to seeing candles or something that at least looks kind of like a candle. And I'm all about the views right now. Yeah, wow, that might be our these might be our LPS phases. We're about to, again here, these are smaller like reaccumulation ranges that we're witnessing, so I could just draw the horizontal trading range. If we break above this right now, we're running to around 1420 pretty quickly. So again, we've got smaller trading ranges, again remembering that these are fractal in nature, so they can repeat themselves. Let's see, take a look at a few guys. Mark Carter says, like, smash. Thank you. Mark Hill says, I appreciate that you're doing this. What's amazing is you hopping on here live stream at this time. Yeah, I wanted to just catch this one. I was awake. I was debating whether I should do it. And it's just one of those perfect opportunities to share that information of learning right now. So I think that's fantastic. Should I move some of my Aave to link over to ETH now? Whoa, don't make silly decisions late at night. If you have an investment in each of those, you should continue with whatever reason you were trying to trade those in the first place. I like Aave and Link, and I have positions in all of them. So I don't know why you'd want to change your position. It just sounds like you're going to mess up. Thoughts on ayahuasca? Listen to Bullet Train by Iowa by Pustifer. Bullet Train to Iowa by Pustifer. Great track. I love ayahuasca. Beautiful visions. Makes you recognize what's really important. Yeah, definitely. If you guys are all asking about should I jump from one trade to another, no. It sounds like you're a retail trader. What you should do is go to the links down below and join our private group. You can get a 10% discount if you use the code BALOO. And that's what you should do. Instead of just jumping around and making silly retail moves, you should join our mastermind group and study. And there you go. Go for that instead. Hey, Arcane Bear, do you have any thoughts on ADA? Yeah, let's not focus on anything other than ETH right now, because this is where we're getting all the fun. OMG, ETH is going well, thank God. Yeah, this was a great one for us. I really appreciate that it's been this easy. What does the Arcane Bear think of Theta? Gone over that in other videos. I just wanted to focus on this one learning lesson right now. Like, it's difficult to digest just one lesson, guys. Like, don't try to focus on too many ideas at once here. Ethereum provided us this perfect opportunity to learn something, so don't waste it. And again, look at these beautiful charts. Okay, reaccumulation. If you've watched our videos, you'll know that we've gone over this hundreds of times. Here was that reaccumulation. This is what it looked like in the larger frame, right? That reaccumulation was basically a small little backup after the spring before we broke into phase D. You can't even see it basically. But again, this is the value of learning, is here it was. Here was our reaccumulation in this beautiful tight little range where you had your primary support, your buying climax, your secondary test, your automatic rally, your spring, again, highlighted by this big candle wick, our first sign of strength, our LPS, and then boom, a breakout of the box. So like textbook. And the other important part that you really need to remember is this final aspect that I had pointed out on our Twitter account, which is that we were rising on falling supply like this. We were rising on falling supply. So again, if you check out the Twitter post we made just before this broke out, we're at 1260. Rising price, falling supply characteristics. Hugely important for this kind of stuff. So again, this is just the perfect opportunity to study something in Ethereum. I don't want to go over and look at Theta because none of those things are doing what ETH did, which is just provide us this beautiful opportunity to look at how freaking awesome these types of trading ranges are, and also hopefully for you guys to learn how to ignore everybody who's telling you the wrong advice. That's myself included. It's because if you do your own homework, you come to your own conclusions, you can make your own responsible decisions about what you should be doing, and that's what this channel is for. It's not so you can follow me and, oh my God, is it going to do this? Is it going to do that? No, do your homework so that you know your own confident decision, and you're responsible for all of your trading and all of your investing based off your own study and your own practice. Anyways, that's what I love about this, is because I didn't produce this. One of our private members produced this in the private group, effectively, right? So they posted this. I was like, yeah, great chart, Jerry, right? You're killing it with that one. Nice. We're just gonna see. What I love about stuff like this too is there are certain people who just don't know anything about how to effectively operate in the markets. So what they do is they decide that it's all speculation. It's not real. Well, what they've failed to understand is it's just that they suck at understanding technical analysis. So we just remove people like that because they're useless. Okay. Watch at least 10 YouTubers. That would be a horrible idea. You should just do your own study and homework. Although I do suggest you watch Crypto Lark because he's the kindest man in crypto. Shout out to Lark. It's a different story. How long did it take for you to get to the point of understanding with your trading? Years, almost a decade, to gather as much information to be able to look at volume charts and recognize things very quickly. It's almost like music, but you can give me any instrument and I can play it. You've seen me play the flute, I can play the drums, I can play the guitar, the cello, the clarinet. If you give me an instrument, I can play it. And that takes around 10 years of time on deck. So it's a lot of practice. Not too many YouTubers on at night, so I was happy to have you on. I'm happy to share with you guys. Thank you. So again, this is the perfect opportunity for these horizontal trading ranges. It was just such a sexy moment to see this type of stuff. You know, you really don't get too many opportunities to go, yeah, here's what it looks like in practice, right? And theory, and then this is what it looks like when it breaks out. Bang! Within 15 minutes of all of these posts happening, right? We're like, this was in the private den, this was in the private den. I went and made this live. Like again, here you can see the horizontal trading range. Well, if you're smart enough to know how to see what's there, it takes practice. So maybe not smart. If you're practiced enough to know, because I don't think it necessarily requires intelligence, it just requires practice. Yes, this was a beautiful moment. And again, that falling supply was a key indicator right at the top of the trading range. As I said, ETH pushing up at the 15 minutes in the top of the trading range on falling volume. You know what that means. You know what that means, although I can't spell that, that apparently. It means it was going to break out. So it's a beautiful thing. And I think we're about to get the LPS here. I hope it comes back to 1270. I would love that, but more likely around 1300. And even still, if we might not see it come back down again, that might be it. That might be the lowest we see Ethereum in quite some time. That's one of the fun things about this. So Wendell says, I watch Lark daily. I love Lark. Congrats on that. I like good job. Everyone support Lark. I don't really care what ETH versus the Bitcoin top price. That's absolutely totally unimportant. It's just totally unimportant. We left Ethereum's and Bitcoin's relationship being important back in 2019. Anyone who's charting those two has completely missed the change in the overall macro perspective of the market. So there's that. Everybody, do you remember to smash the like button? Yes, I appreciate that as well. PDF Craft says, thank you. I've been watching since 2017. Teach a man to fish. Yes. Where is the best place to start? I was reading Wyckoff's. There's tons of free resources you can find on the internet. But again, guys, if you join the private links down below right now for the next 12 more hours, because we already went through the first 12 hours, if you use the code BLUE, you'll get a 12 or a 10% discount. And it also, we just hired BLUE as a writer, so he's going to help write about one update per week or something like this. And we're going to do a bear forage. But anyways, that's how we given him a big shout out for that, because part of the commissions that come in from any of those signups go directly to BLUE as well. So it's like a way to support our content creators internally. Look at BTC value, not USD. Yeah, Tony, you are totally wrong. See, this changed dramatically back in 2019, 2020, basically, where the market, people that have a hell of a lot more money than you, don't care about how much Bitcoin they have. It used to be, I always only charted against Bitcoin, but it became entirely irrelevant. So it's actually you who is the noob, because you don't know what happened. People that have hundreds of billions of dollars showed up. And you are a little baby fish, and you're squawk boxing like with someone who thinks they know something when you're obviously wrong. You're just obviously wrong, and it just takes the homework to do so. So I suggest you go do that homework there, Mr. Tony. Anyways, we're just gonna, from now on, when people like that show up and they feel like they think they know what they're talking about, this is what we do. We just kick them out of the chat, because they're providing no value whatsoever. And in fact, they might confuse people. So we'll just go like that. Bye-bye, Tony. We don't need your nonsense here. Okay, so one of the reasons why, well, look, I'll actually answer Tony as well. If you have been following us for long enough, and I hope that you have, you will first off know what the Wyckoff trading ranges are, but more importantly, you will recognize something that we learned back earlier in the beginning of the year, is that Ethereum's chart had been forming entirely in US dollars. And that was a big change. And again, this is because people with hundreds of billions of dollars show up. And they changed the way the ecosystem played. In the early days of the Bitcoin ecosystem, everyone was charting against Bitcoin because they wanted more Bitcoin. But when you have people like Jim Simmons, and the Renaissance Fund show up. So for those of you that don't know who Jim Simmons is, I highly suggest you do your homework. Jim Simmons is the most lucrative hedge fund trader in all of history. He made 23.65 or $23.5 billion trading. That's orders of magnitude higher than Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, George Soros, and whatever the other his name is who was up there in the top. So because people like Jim Simmons, if you go listen to them too, they're not looking for more Bitcoin. They want US dollar. They measure their alpha in dollar, not in Bitcoin. And their fund alone manages $163.95 billion. That's why this changed. It changed dramatically in 2019, 2020 when these players started to show up, because they didn't give a fuck about getting more Bitcoin. They wanted alpha in US dollars. We used to always measure our alpha in Bitcoin because that's what people like us want. But people that have hundreds of billions of dollars want hundreds of billions of dollars more, right? It's a crazy thing. But those are the people that drive this market. And again, remember what I just said there. That makes people like Michael Saylor look like a dolphin. When you're talking about one guy that's got $1 billion and the other guy that's managing hundreds of billions of dollars, it's a totally different ballgame. So please, we switched a long time ago. That's a pretty big deal to recognize that as well, I think. That we changed, this ecosystem changed. And whether for better or for worse, it doesn't really matter. The reason why the price is so high right now is because those people showed up. So it's important to remember. So we're looking for our first primary LPS here. We'll probably get it on the live stream. I hope we come back to 1260. That would be nice. I would love to see that. I would probably even weight in even heavier into my position. That's how I feel about that. Whales control BTC. Yeah, exactly. People with a lot of US dollars. That's who controls Bitcoin now. And remember, Michael, again, I think Michael Saylor is doing some great things by providing people the confidence to be like, hey, I just bought like another $10 million in Bitcoin. But remember, he's got 1 billion when Renaissance manages 160 billion. BlackRock manages $7.3 trillion in assets. These are huge numbers. Like, you can't even comprehend trillions of dollars. I'm sorry. So you need to recognize that the market changed, and that's just the end of that one. Ryan Hurst says, hey, I joined your site tonight. I was watching your videos. Great job. Does the site have instructional videos on the Wyckoff? So Ryan, all of our stuff has been moved from the site into the private Discord channel. So please check your emails. And we do private webinars in the Discord. We do a lot of group chats, conversations, and you post your charts in peer review. And one of myself or our other Kodiak admins, people who are also studying frequently, will help give you feedback on your charts that you're writing there. So please just double check your welcome emails and then join the Discord. We used to do everything on the website, but because things happen so quickly now, it's impossible to keep up with. So we just couldn't manage and post content on the website fast enough. It's easier to share it in the group and do all the webinars privately in the Discord group as well. I heard you can 10x in short term. Yeah, you can 10x and short whenever you want. But I don't think it's a good idea to short in a bull market, though. Sounds like a pretty bad idea. Thank you for joining as well, by the way, Ryan. I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, please email info@arcanebear.com, and our administrator, Lindley, will help you out. Oh, yeah, here we go. Back to the charts. Oh, and this is Jim Simmons, by the way. I didn't realize it wasn't showing. So this is Jim Simmons. Go check him out. Mathematician, $23.9 billion he made himself. This one person made $23.9 billion. And I believe Renaissance Medallion Fund. Again, this is the most lucrative hedge fund in history. Renaissance Technologies manages with a 71.8% annual return before fees from 1994 through mid-2014, has been closed to outside investors since 1993, and only available to current and past employees and their families. A number of employees, 300. I think they manage $110 billion. Renaissance Technologies alone. And again, this was, if you look up Renaissance Fund Bitcoin, you can see that this is why the game changed. And this is why there's no sense in charting Ethereum versus Bitcoin anymore, is because these guys, people like this showed up. So again, Renaissance Technologies flagship hedge fund Medallion has dipped his toes into the wild world of cryptocurrency trading. And okay, so Medallion is 75 billion and Renaissance is 110. So in juntos es un mucho más dinero. Little fishy boys like Tony think they know what they're talking about, but they don't even know who Jim Simmons is. Poor man. Okay, next thing. You're day trading. I don't suggest it. I don't suggest day trading unless you're people like Jim Simmons who have basically like geniuses working. I like long-term trades that play for a long, do really well on a long term. Good night. Thanks. Yeah, we're pretty close to the end of this evening's episode. Johnny Boy says, "Call me a noob. I know you want to. I don't know why I would, Johnny Boy, but sure, you're a noob. We all are. I mean, you only get to live for like 100 years if you're lucky. Like, what can you learn in 100 years about a universe that's pretty much infinite? Hardly anything. So good luck. Welcome to class." I want to remember ETH always moved before BTC. Yes, it has actually been moving outside of its trading range prior to Bitcoin. If you can go you can go back and watch all of our previous videos and you'll see we've repeated some of this stuff many times. What will be the max price of Ethereum today? That is an unimportant question. If you keep asking that, we're just going to ban you. Jesus, what is just okay. Guys, just so you know, if you do stupid things, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So Prince Thacker, you are now the proud winner of a stupid prize for this evening. Okay. There we go. No longer allowed to... Where do I buy this Jim Simmons coin you speak of? Again, so for those of you that don't know, one of my favorite things to do is research and study. Jim Simmons and his hedge fund, Renaissance and Medallion, are the most lucrative hedge fund ever in history, period. That's it. There's no other answer than that. So his name is not very well known, but he was a mathematician, the American mathematician, billionaire hedge fund manager, and philanthropist, founder of Renaissance Technologies. You definitely want to figure out who this guy is. He's got some great lectures at MIT. They produce some of the most lucrative trading styles in history. And when they joined the Bitcoin sphere, it changed everything because they don't measure alpha in Bitcoin. They measure alpha in US dollars. And remember, these guys have been making hundreds of billions of dollars in alpha. So that's why it's irrelevant to chart Ethereum versus Bitcoin now. Nice. Let's see. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I really appreciate all your guys' support this evening. This was a great show. I just wanted to show that it was a perfect opportunity to learn something, and I think it's always important that we do that. Is to take those opportunities to really learn something. You know, there's a lot of explosive sentiments right now. And one of the best things to do to stay calm is to go read books, to go do your homework, and spend that time educating yourself. It's probably one of the most important things ever. I think, at least for me, that's like one of my favorite things to do is learn more on a constant basis. I couldn't be more happier with that choice as well. I think Matthew Burton says, "What mic is that?" This is the Rode NT1 guitar. I think the guitar is out of tune. I could double check. Let's see here. The guitar is probably out of tune, guys. We'll find out though. Yeah, she's out of tune. Don't worry. We're gonna have to retune it and spend some time going over that in other episodes, but not tonight. I'm gonna research all night about Jim Simmons. He's got a 3-part lecture series called Money, Mathematics, and Making a Difference. If you go to YouTube, this is one of my favorite 3-part series. It's called Jim Simmons, MIT. This one. Dr. James Simmons S. Donald Sussman Fellowship Award Fireside Chat Series, March 2nd. This is a 3-part series. Part 1 is mathematics, part 2 is money, and part 3 is making a difference, because he's given a few $1 billion to charitable foundations, mostly focused on helping educate people in STEM research effectively. You can see I've actually listened to this all the way through. I don't know why it says I only listened halfway, but these 3 chats are absolutely worth every minute, and they're about an hour, 30 minutes each. So definitely check that out. Yeah, I don't worry. I will tune. It's just I was changing the strings on everything. Almost all the instruments here in the jungle need the strings changed frequently, so I was going through and basically retuning every instrument I have in the house, which is like more than you want to tune at any given moment. What are your plans for taking profits? Well, yeah, no profit taking, at least on spot buys, up until we're significantly higher. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per Bitcoin, and maybe even tens of thousands of dollars for Ethereum. Play the flute. Could you summarize the Ethereum breakout? Just please press rewind. You'll get that one. Okay, we'll end the evening with a little bit of flute tonight, because a lot of you guys are asking for music. Favorite music era? I love Tool. Tool is my favorite band by far. They're like the best band ever in history, in my opinion. But I also really like classical Arab and Indian music. Last stream you played the Arabic guitar very well. It's an oud. It's like it's a Turkish oud. That one is a custom-made Turkish oud that I got. I was really stoked about that. I'm in high school. My teacher says I will lose my money like Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy is a retail trader. He knows nothing about trading. The fact that he's been even remotely successful is because he's a comedian, not because he's a trader. He's basically retail, effectively. So, what we will do is, we'll end it off with the flute, because everyone, I think I saw the flute. We'll do tomorrow. It's late nighttime stuff too. So thank you guys all for joining on this evening. If you want to know more about If you want to know more about anything that we do, just watch of our videos, join our private group, all that fun stuff. Steal with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining on this ridiculously late live stream. I'm very excited to go to sleep after this one. But what we will do is leave you off with some soothing sounds of like the native flute that we have here. Oh, wait, hold on. You got to make sure your fetishes are all lined up there, Tio, before you press play. It's almost like tuning the guitar. Let's see. Thank you guys, Tio with the Arcane Bear. I always love that we get to share a little bit of music with you guys, and you appreciate the eclectic mixture of finance and vibration. Thank you all for joining us on this very, very late evening stream. T-ho, Arcane Bear. Boom, we are live and we are going to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you on tomorrow's episode. We got 2 today. You got 2 episodes today. You lucky...